Fellas, in this video, I want to talk about how emotionally intelligent men take feedback without taking it personally. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So this video is based off of a comment that I got from one of my recent subscribers. All right. And this particular subscriber is like super engaging on my, my most recent content that I put out. So they left me a comment on a video that I posted yesterday. And that video is kind of a different style than I usually do, where I was kind of just sitting talking to the camera, talking about YouTube and things that I don't necessarily talk about all the time, but I still kind of weaved in my own, self-improvement, awareness type stuff. So this person, I don't want to leave out that I asked for feedback, like in the pinned comments. I literally asked for feedback, like, hey, what do you think about this video? What are your thoughts on this style of video? And, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I kind of do that. But so this person responded to that comment, and they left me some suggestions and stuff like that. So that's what is the inspiration for this video is. And I want to break down how to not take constructive criticism personally, how to not take feedback so personally, because this is something that I struggled with throughout my life as well. And I think a lot of men can benefit from what I'm about to share. So I'm going to read some of these comments to you, and just follow me. I know it may seem kind of like, why is he doing all this? But it's to give you context so that you understand where I'm taking this video, all right, and how you can be more emotionally intelligent. Okay, so the subscriber, you know who you are. This is not for me to attack you either, but I told you I was gonna make a video out of this. They said, I hope you don't mind me sharing my thoughts, even though this might be none of my business. I feel like it might be time for you to explore a new niche. You've been focusing on emotional intelligence and personal development for 2 years so far, and while that's great, I think you might thrive in a different direction. Since you're passionate about puzzles like Rubik's Cube and have a knack for figuring things out, perhaps you could shift towards something more technical or skill-based. For example, have you considered diving into chess? You could learn it, master it, and share that journey to inspire and entertain others. Another idea could be teaching people about YouTube, how it works, strategies for growth, and tips for creators with your analytical mindset. I think you'd bring a lot of value. I hope this doesn't come across as intrusive. It's just a thought that crossed my mind. I know you've commented on my type of content and how it's more about art and nature and what people want to see more than learn. So I figured I'd share some perspective in return. Take care. All right. So that was the initial comment that the subscriber had left. Right now, I'll get back to how I responded to that this morning, because when I read the comment, I was kind of like just waking up. And that's another key thing, too. If you make YouTube videos, don't respond to the comments right away. But so, yeah, I wanted to use this as an example to kind of explain how an emotionally intelligent man would address this type of feedback. OK, so there's some things that, I got some notes here. And there's some things that have helped me be able to kind of handle feedback a bit better. And the first thing that I really had to learn was to check my ego at the door. All right. So whenever somebody provides feedback, whether you ask for it or whether you don't, because a lot of people will give you feedback and give you suggestions and you ain't even really ask for it. They're kind of giving you just unsolicited advice. All right. And I don't suggest doing that. I used to make that mistake too a lot in my life, and I stopped doing that. But, when you're asking for it, like I did in this particular instance, you got to be ready for what comes with it. People might say things that are going to maybe activate you, maybe trigger you. And it's important to be able to kind of separate your ego from what the person is actually saying. So when I'm able to check my ego at the door and kind of remove my ego, it allows me to be able to shift my perspective a bit better and actually kind of hear what the person is trying to convey to me. This takes a skill. This is not easy to do. We're not naturally able to do this, unless you saw this modeled. And if you did, you're blessed. But when you can shift your perspective, I can actually kind of weave through, what the person, weave through the message and try to get to the core of what the person is trying to say to me. So when I read this message, ultimately what I got to was the subscriber is trying to say that, hey, even though you're into personal development, I think you would thrive doing this, starting a channel where you talk about chess, starting a channel where you talk about YouTube. And they're projecting onto me how they think I would thrive better based off of their perceptions, based off of watching my content and things like that. So once you can understand that somebody is really just kind of sharing how they see you based off of what they have seen of you, once you can understand that that's what's happening, you can start to work on not taking it so personally and start to remove that ego from it. When you're able to like remove your ego and learn how to not take things so personally, it will allow you to remain in integrity. Okay, now why is that so important? You want to be able to stay in integrity. You want to be able to live within this realm of like where things are not bothering you so much, where you're not getting so pulled out of how you want to authentically carry yourself. I have a standard on how I like to carry myself. You know, I used to get bent out of shape. Back in the day, if I would have read a comment like that, I would have said something back and kind of just snapped back at the individual without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? It might have said something that's not very constructive or productive and would have been defensive and coming from that place. So working on emotional intelligence, working on becoming more emotionally mature and being on this journey, I've learned the importance of being able to always try to remain in integrity. Don't let what people say or what people do pull you out of that and knock you off your square so easily, because it's not that serious. Being able to kind of, like I said, weave through what the person is trying to say. The person is trying to say, hey, I think you may thrive better doing this. And then they will throw you a bunch of suggestions that maybe you can try. So, you know, when I hear that, I'm almost hearing like, man, those are good suggestions that maybe you can try. You know, maybe you can start your own YouTube channel and start to put out some of these ideas that you're sharing with me, because I'm gonna do what I do. You know, there's a reason why I do this, and the reason I'm sharing this is because I want fellas to kind of just be mindful that people will say things to you that will have you questioning yourself, will have you second guessing yourself, even if that's not their intention. Their intention may not be to do that. But if you're not aware of yourself, you can easily be like second guessing yourself. You can be like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Maybe I should go find a new niche. And maybe that individual has a point. So that's what I mean too, being able to like hear the point the person is trying to make without getting defensive to the point the person is trying to make. Does that make sense? If it does, let me know in the comments if I need to clarify this a bit more. All right, so back to my little list here. People like to put you in a light that they think you'll shine brightest in. Okay, and people will project things onto you and say things onto you based off of their own life experiences, based off their own life conditioning, where they say, hey, I think you'd be good at this, you know, and that can be very helpful at times. You know, that can be that can help you maybe find direction in your life if you're lacking direction or purpose or how you want to move in your life. You know, sometimes feedback from people, especially people that are closest to you, can be very helpful. You know, like when they tell you like, hey, you're really good at this, you're a good listener. You know, I think you might be good if you applied your listening skills to this in that way. So be open to people's feedback and not be so quick to defend yourself. This is a mistake that I used to make a lot. And even at times, I still do make it. I'm going to read you my response to this person, and you let me know if it sounds like defensive or whatnot, you know, because I have to be mindful of that type of stuff. You know, it's you want to be receptive without being defensive. All right. You want to be appreciative to somebody's feedback and taking the time to even type it up while not making it, not making what they say your own. That's their thoughts. That's their opinions. That's their ideas. You know, it may not necessarily be in alignment with the idea you have for yourself. So it's important to be mindful of that. It's also really important to be mindful that people may not always say things in a way that you can just easily receive it. Okay. Somebody might leave a comment on, you know, if you got a YouTube channel or you got a Facebook or Instagram, somebody may leave a comment on one of your reels or something, and it may be worded in a way that you look at it like, oh man, that's rude, or why'd they say that? Or you got to realize people say things in ways that we're not always going to be able to receive it. It's not always going to be so easily digestible. So it's important to be able to just let it go. It's not that big of a deal. You can address things in the way that you think is healthiest for you, but also being mindful that like everybody moves in their own ways. Everybody operates from their own ways of conditioning, and not everybody's going to express them. Not everybody's going to express themselves in ways like how you would express yourself. So it's really important to be very mindful of that too, because that can throw us off. We might be expecting someone to treat us how we would treat them, and that's not how life works, you know. And I think that's a crucial lesson. Damn, my light just went off. That's a crucial lesson that a lot of us men need to, and people in general need to understand. Another key point that I want you to understand about being emotionally intelligent and not taking things personally, specifically feedback, specifically constructive criticism, is that you want to get to a point where you don't let your emotions dictate like how intense your response can be. It's okay to respond to things, but you want to be mindful of like what you're saying, you know, how you're saying it, your words, you know, words have power, words have impact. So if you're asking for feedback and somebody gives you feedback and it hits you a certain way, you want to be mindful of how you're responding to that, because I asked for the feedback. So I can't be mad at somebody for actually giving me feedback, but I can hear what they're saying and kind of like try to find the core message that they're trying to deliver to me and take that and kind of do away with the other peripheral stuff, because that's when your ego gets pulled into it. That's when it's like, oh yeah, I need to defend myself. This person is saying X, Y, and Z about me. And that's not even the case. That's when we can make things a lot bigger than they really need to be. Right. So I want to read to you my response, all right, to this person's initial comment. So what I said, thanks for the feedback. I said, I'm enjoying creating the content I make currently. It provides me an opportunity to share tips and tools with men who may be in the place I once was. I appreciate the suggestions. I wouldn't be passionate about that content. As far as content geared towards YouTube creators, I may try it, but that's not what this channel is really for. I'm curious, why do you think I should change my niche? I'm pretty content with my growth at this point. I'm not passionate about puzzles. I mean, I really enjoy learning, you know, and I'm just kind of saying that because I said something in the video where I was like, you know, YouTube is kind of like a Rubik's Cube. It's like trying to figure things out. So I just want to give you a little bit more context. But I said, I already know how to play chess and I have no desire to teach that. I said, I'd like to think being self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and being more mindful in life is a skill that most don't possess. And I'm here to encourage that. I said, I don't think I've commented on your content, but I may be wrong. Thanks for commenting. All right. So that was my response to it. I felt like it was pretty solid. You know, it might not, you know, hopefully it didn't sound too emotionally charged. I try to be mindful of that, you know, remove emotions and stuff like that. And then, you know, the subscriber responded. They said, I believe you should change because it's a good idea to try different things and not be focused on doing the same thing for 2 years. On the other hand, you can continue on your path of personal development and help other men. But it's going to be tough because 1 in 10,000 people wants to do personal development and improve their life. You may just read this comment because I feel you're being triggered, given you used LOL twice. I don't want to argue. All right. So if I'm not mistaken, I think this subscriber is from Saudi Arabia too. I feel like they might have told me that in some other comments. So, you know, with that being said, there's, you know, there might be a cultural, like, not disconnect, but just how we communicate, how people might read certain messages and stuff like that. So, that might play into like the communication. And again, this communication is not negative. This is not bad. This is just like, I'm trying to highlight how to not take things so personally and how to be able to frame things in a way of where you can take something from it and apply it to your life and move forward and not get so bombarded with what this person said, how they said it. They're telling me what to do. I like to do what I want to do. Like, it's being able to kind of like, all that is not that serious. Even in this message, you know, I probably over-explained a little bit too much. You know what I mean? But hey, that can happen. But ultimately, the point of the video is to demonstrate how to be emotionally intelligent when people are trying to give you feedback. I'm hoping by sharing this that I can create more understanding, more clarity, more awareness on how to receive when somebody is saying something to you. You know, no matter what the forum might be. It might be a YouTube channel, it might be Facebook, it might be your manager saying something to you at your job to your face. You know, and those are tougher situations because you're faced right with it. And you can get emotionally charged, you can get triggered, and that's when those reactions can kind of just pour out of us because we don't have the space to be able to separate and like assess what's going on before we respond to it. All right. So, yo, the subscriber, I want to say I appreciate your engagement as of lately. I appreciate you commenting. I appreciate the suggestions and stuff like that. I think that honestly, I think that maybe you should start a YouTube channel too, though. I did skim, try to click on this person's channel to see like what they had out there. You know, some people comment, they have channels, some people don't. But you know, there wasn't really much on there. But yeah, maybe, you know, like I said, I appreciate the feedback. Maybe that's something you could start, because for me personally, I think that this is my lane as far as men's personal growth. This is what my channel is for, is to help men who maybe might be trying to figure out like, how do you get to this place that I may be at right now. Not to say that I've got it all figured out. I'm not a master. I'm not a guru. I'm a guy who's just on a journey just like you as well. So my goal is to share these tips and these tools that I've picked up in my life to make life not so easy, and to make life, not so heavy, and to make being able to navigate life a bit easier. We are all going to have our challenges. We're all going to have our obstacles in life, but it'll make it a little bit easier if we have the tools to be able to like regulate ourselves, to have a clearer understanding of what our emotional state is at any given moment. These are like valuable lessons that I've picked up, and my goal is to share that to the world. All right. So I hope this video provided you with value. After it's all said and done, I hope you have more of a clearer understanding of how an emotionally intelligent man takes feedback without taking things personally. It is a practice. It's not something that you're going to be able to do necessarily like right overnight, but it is something that you can work on and that you can get better with. So if you got value out of this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave me comments. You know, I might make a video about you. You never know. But make sure you check out one of my other videos. I appreciate you, and I will see you there. Peace.